Hi, comic book friends. I'm Travis. This is a comic book haul, and you're just going to see, technically, my hands, at most. Anyway, this is a ridiculously big pile of comics, so I don't know, this video may get split into two parts when I get to the editing part of it, because who wants to sit through a couple hours of just looking at Batman covers, basically, because that's really what it's going to come down to. I picked these up a couple weeks ago. There is a, people who've been paying attention to some of my videos, there now is a local quote-unquote comic book store in the valley that I live in. It is a gaming store also. It has some back issues and some current stuff is kind of what it is. A few trades mixed in there and whatnot. They've been around, I guess, for a year now. They keep saying, I don't believe that. Because I'm sure I would have seen it sooner than that. I don't know if they're counting the time that there was a kind of a hole in the wall behind the tattoo parlor comic book shop. If they're counting that time as being part of their time too. They bought the comics that person had, kind of bought them out and then moved themselves to another place kind of down the street, and then they're on the front of the building. At any rate, they were having a sale on comics there. I guess they actually have a bunch of back issues that are $1 as it is, and then it was 10% off. So I figured, you know what the heck, I'll see what they have and just fill in some holes, and that's really all this is. It's not like there's anything special here that I was hunting down or whatnot. I haven't read any of the comics basically that we're going to be not going to be showing. I have thumbed through most of them because I've rebagged and boarded them, and when I do that I can't help but look at the pictures, of course, that are in it, and the occasional funny lines or whatever. So with that being said, first off the bat is I bought one issue of Brave and the Bold. This is issue 172. I now have 156, I think it's 156 of the 200 issues of the original, the first volume of Brave and the Bold. So getting close to having all. When I get them all, I'm sure I'll cut a video on that, because that'll be an achievement, or it'll feel like an achievement, because it's one of the kind of things that I do kind of pay a little closer attention to as far as trying to get all of the books at any rate. But anyway, so 172, a bunch of Jim Aparo artwork, not in the greatest condition. There's a big old smudge, as you can see right there on the barcode here. Right, that's it. One Brave and the Bold, right? Rest of these comic books are going to be all oriented on the same thing. So, Batman 375. This is after I quit picking up comic books for a while, so there's this big huge hole in the mid-90s up into the early 2000s that I basically had kids, had house payments, had to pay for college, rent, all that kind of stuff, and comic books kind of fell by the wayside. So this is me just kind of filling some of that in, because like I said, it was comic books on the cheap, so it was hard not to just get a bunch of them. But anyway, so I'm just going to whip through these things unless something strikes me to really talk about. So 383, which is kind of weird that I don't have some of these, because I remember collecting Batman during this era, so I'm kind of surprised I don't have these. But I know I don't, because I checked my app as I was going along. So this is some of the Starling Batman. This is 421. I remember when this Batman was coming out, so I must have just been done buying comics, but I was still walking into the comic book store and crying about not having comics, I would guess. Good old McFarlane cover there. 423, 424. One of the funny things is in this era of comics, we roll into 425. We roll into the era of comics that I'm probably glad I didn't get. So I'm going to hate reading these, because they'll have Tim Drake in it, and I am just not the Tim Drake fan. Maybe this could make me a Tim Drake fan. I don't know. That's a great cover. Not sure who did that cover, but 430, 431. Aparo, you see Aparo. He's doing Batman during this era. He's not inking his own work. That's DiCarlo doing the inking, I'm sure. He's not lettering either. You go back to early Jim Aparo. especially like Brave and the Bold and whatnot, he drew, inked, and lettered the comic. So he knew exactly where the word balloons were going to be at for his panels because he's the one that did it all. So there you go. 432. The Many Deaths of Batman. 433. 434. 435. Then we get into year 3. Clearly that's a George Perez cover, right? 436. Yep, definitely Perez. 437. 438. And 439. Oh, Nightwing on the cover there. Let's see here. 440. Perez, Aparo, and DeCarlo. So, Perez did some of the work on it. Aparo did some of the work on it, I'm assuming. The Only Place to Die. Part 1 of 5. I'm familiar with these stories. There's 3. So that was 440. 441. So clearly this is crossing over with Detective Comics, I would guess. And there is 442. 443. These are Wolfman written books. I'm curious to see what they're going to be like when I get around to reading them. 440 or 444. Pile that down because it's going to get ridiculous here. There is 445. I'm actually kind of curious about these. We're have to do with the Russian stuff. 446. 447. Really like that cover. That's a cool cover. Because I don't know a whole lot about these books. So I really can't make it interesting like DaCosta does when he's talking about the books he's got. So, 448, Penguin Affair, number 1. And there is 449. So, it's another one that must cross over with Detective Comics, even my guess. Batman. 451, of course, no 450, probably there's something important about it because it's 450, right? So, good old Aparo. Joker, looking forward to reading that in there. I don't think that's a Aparo cover, though. So, Peter Milligan. Batman at this point. Dark Knight, Dark City, Part 2 of 3. That was 453. I'm missing 452. Got some holes here that'll fill in some blank. 455. Let me get into all this. Brefogli, is that how you say it? Brefogli? Yeah, whatever. Art, which means I think we're going to really start drifting into the 90s art a little more, I'm guessing. It's 456. 457. Do like that cover. 458. 459. 460. Some Catwoman action. 461. Curious about this one too. Look forward to reading it. Once upon a time there were 3 women. So who are those 3 women playing a role in Batman's life, I'm guessing? 462. 463. 464. They're really into these. For this run of books here, the Far From Civilization means confront the unthinkable, and then suddenly there is no difference between man and monster. So, 465. See, now we're starting to get into the 466. This is a horrible cover. 467. This starts to scream everything I don't like about 90s comics. Big giant gun, goofy outfit. 468. Ooh, this guy looks like an action figure, right? 469. Ugh. Ugh. I mean, if you're gonna put a snake tattoo on him, look, gotta be better than that, right? 470. 471. 472. The Idiot, Root Part 1. So this will be talking about Tim Drake, right? 473. And there is 476. That's Batman revealing himself to Vicky Vale, I would guess. Dun dun dun. There's 478. 479. Oh, look, it's the 90s. We can show our ass and our boobs all in the same shot. 480. 481. 482. You're thinking, God, how many Batman did he get? 483. Introducing Crash and Burn. 484. I do like that cover. Like all the masks. That's cool. 486. Metalhead. And... ooh. 487. Look at that guy's face. Wow, look at that gun. It's ridiculous. Assuming that's supposed to be like a heavy barrel, so it has better accuracy, but come on, man. Anyway, that's my Batman. I think about the time I got to that point, I was thinking, I'm getting awfully close to getting to the Nightfall stuff, which I wasn't sure I want to buy into that yet. You know, horrible, right? I don't own the Nightfall stuff. I'm a quote-unquote Batman fan. Anyway, I'll jump into some Detective Comics. Detective Comics 519. Then we're going to make a huge jump to Detective Comics 549. Together again with Harvey Bullock. There was a time when the Detective Comics had Green Arrow on the back of it, and that's when I collected it the most back in the 80s. There's a Magnolia cover Detective comic, right? Wagner on it too. So that's Detective Comics 583. 585, and this is the first appearance, I do know in this, it's the first appearance of Ratcatcher, which character, you know, who cares, right? No big deal. I can't even tell you how many stories actually have the Ratcatcher in it. I just think it's amusing because right now in Mother Panic, they're using Ratcatcher, except he's not Ratcatcher anymore. He's not a villain. He's just a guy that has some friends who are rats. And he lives in the basement of Mother Panic's mansion, so kind of funny. Detective Comics 586, more of the Ratcatcher, kind of like that cover. 588. 589. 591. 593. 594. It's crazy the bomb at the stock market. 596. 597. 598. 80-page giant. It's actually a square bound. Blind Justice, part 1 of 3. So, 50 years of the Batman. And what? It wasn't very long ago. We just, a couple years ago, did 75 years of the Batman? Yeah. 599. And of course, then another extra size one. This is 600 to 89. Not sure why I wasn't collecting Detective Comics point, because I was still buying comic books. Probably got so wrapped up in so much Vertigo stuff. And it was getting hard to buy comics at this point, so I was down to just a couple comics, I think, at this point. 601, 602, about the time I probably dropped out of college. 603, 604, and by the way, the free full color Batman mini poster inside, it is inside. How about that, huh? 605, I think this, the Mud Pack, I think is the storyline where Clayface fakes the resurrection of Jason Todd. Am I remembering that right? Somebody's gonna tell me if they bothered to watch this far. Yeah, I think so. Just by looking at the covers would be my guess. 606, 607, like I said, I haven't read any of these. I will read them at some point, read all the comics I buy. And then 610, a bit of a jump there. 611, clearly the Penguin there. Ooh. 612, this is 1990. There's Catman. That's Catman there. An early Catman. And Catwoman, obviously. 613. 614. Taking on the biker gang. 616. 617. Kind of like that cover. It's kind of fun. 618. Drake plane lost. Oh yeah, so let me get into the stinking Tim Drake baloney. 619. 620. Move a few of those out of the way here. 621. You can tell the art styles are changing quite a bit. Oh yeah, here we go. 622. Dick Sprang cover there. It's clear like the, I don't know, what, Japanese Batman or something? I don't know. 623. Oh, meet the Bat Hound. These are Osterman. These are Ostrand written, so I'm excited to read these just because I like him. Responsible for a lot of the original Suicide Squad stuff and whatnot, so looking forward to that. Didn't realize he did a little bit of Batman, so that'll be Detective Comics, so I'll definitely be checking those out. Those will go at the top of the list. Of course, these will go at the top of the list too, because it's Wolfman and Aparo. 625. 626. Aparo must have been a machine, because he must have been doing this the same time he's doing the stuff in Batman also. So, there we go. 600th appearance in Detective Comics. 627. Oh boy, right? 80-page giant there. 628. Love that cover. Love this cover too. 629. That magenta, almost purple. The shadowed buildings are in purple. Him hanging off of some Blind Justice poster. Not poster, Jiminy Christmas. Statue there. Not sure. That might be Aparo, because it's really got an Aparo kind of a face on Batman, doesn't it? I don't see a signature on it anywhere offhand, but the signature could be dropped behind that too. Do like that cover. That's a cool cover. This is a strange cover. 630. I'm assuming that's Batman dropping purposely through down a stairwell, but yeah, it almost looks like he's just falling to his death or something. So 631. $632, wonderful moody Batman cover there. Him sitting on top of a lamppost. I love the loosely drawn bats in the background. That's kind of cool for not really having much of a background. Clearly they dug purple covers, because here's another purplish magenta cover. 633. Some Peter Milligan Batman, or a single issue of Peter Milligan there. 634. Not sure what it looks like he's feeding on somebody there. It'll be interesting to find out about that. 635. 636. Digging that cover. I don't know if that's a Jim Fern or not. I don't know. I'm not familiar enough with the artist to know for sure, but that's kind of a cool cover. 637. 638. 639. Oh, take it back. 638, 640, 641. 643, yeah, hopping little spots there. 644, Electric City. You got that Tim Drake on the cover. 646. 648, Matt Wagner cover. Chuck Dixon writing this storyline. 649. 650. 652, and this is one of those covers that just epitomizes the 90s style, what would soon be like the Image sort of thing, right? Just hate everything about it. Ridiculous. Ugh. 654, 655, and 658, because like I said, I'm pretty sure at this point that it started to roll into the Nightfall stuff, and I just didn't want to venture into that yet. Plus, it was about 127 comics I bought, something like that. So I was having problems carrying them up to the counter at that point, so it was time to quit. And this is a 22+ minute video, so clearly it's time to quit too. There you go. You got to see my haul. Not very much exciting, like I said. Nothing super exciting. Just stuff filling in. Some of my Batman stuff. Decided it was time to pick up a bunch of Batman stuff, so that I did. Look forward to reading those. You know, because all of us that are DC collectors have that wild fantasy that someday we can buy all the Detective Comics, right? So have an entire Detective Comics run. But yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching if you did. Catch you later.